Right, we're leaving Kirkham Abbey on our way to Seaways on our BSAs. I think this is video 5. Yeah, the noisy bike, that's Dan on his Starfire 250. It's quite a loud bike. Yeah, these A10s are quite quiet, smooth. But the oh, the has took his baffles out, to be fair, out of the Starfire. So it is a bit noisier. Yeah, so if you're thinking about getting one of these and you're wondering what sort of person buys one of these, all of us have got different types of bikes, sort of like quite modern ones. I've got some more older bikes. It's like John, who's just gone and bought his BSA. He's got he's got a CBR 600RR track bike. He's got a Tracer MT-09. He's got a Panigale 1299. Obviously you ride these bikes slightly differently, but even though, you know, these are old, you ride them differently. The brakes are totally different, but you'll still have a big smile on your face when you get off them. Whereas most of your other bikes, you can just not think about it when you go and get on them. I always say, if you're going to buy one of these, think of it as a hobby. You know, you can go to them one weekend to go on them and they don't want to start, but it's always something simple, like your points or, you know, a bad connection somewhere. There's not a lot to these bikes. They're fairly easy once you've got them running right. But yeah, you have to do keep up with your maintenance. I mean, they are quite a heavy bike, but when you're riding them, like a lot of these bikes, they don't feel heavy once you're riding them. The biggest thing to remember is your braking. You leave big spaces, and if you see someone braking up ahead of you, you know you need to be thinking about your braking. These things don't just stop like a modern bike. I mean, the brakes work quite fast, you know, once you get used to them. But your braking distance is quite big compared to a modern bike. Yeah, so the speeders on these the mile counter on it, the tacker, it goes up to 999 miles. Sorry, 9,999 miles. So when they do that, they just re-zero again. So they do 10,000 miles and then re-zero. And I've done quite a few miles and I've seen it's zeroed out maybe 2 or 3 times since I've had this bike. So I've done at least, most probably near 30,000 miles on it with no problems. No, I have some like sort of newer bikes, one done as well as this. Yeah, another thing to remember on these old bikes is your speeder. I would say it's a gauge rather than a, you know, an accurate speedometer. They sort of, most probably, I bet all these bikes, if we all sat at 50 mile an hour, they'll all read a different speed on them. So we just use them as a bit of a gauge really, but a lot of people use GPS, like I've got this little beeline sat-nav thing. You can put the speedo on those if you really want to be accurate. When we set off this morning, it was quite foggy and the sun's broke through and roads are dried out. Yeah, the great thing on these as well, you tend to take a lot more B roads and you get to see a bit more of the countryside. than if you was out on a sort of like a modern sports bike or something like that.